Hi, we are Toucher and Hardy, but Hardy's not here. John Wallach is here, and you'll be happy to know that John was wearing a hoodie during the show, and then he switched into a button-down shirt so he would look more professional.
Jim Montgomery, you have to admit you're a little impressed by this, that I dressed up for the occasion.
I am very impressed. You know, I don't shop where he bought that shirt, but that's okay.
That's okay, but it's way better than that. That hoodie there. It just shows he doesn't care.
All right,
he just
John,
shows up.
You're scrambling, but Jim Montgomery is, of course, the head coach of your Boston Bruins. How was the off season for you?
Off season was excellent for the majority of it. My family and I just stayed right here in Boston. Did a lot of great things in and around here, and the weather was fantastic. Played a lot of golf. Went to London as a family, so the summer was great.
Do people know you in London when you walk around? Does anyone come up to you and go, "You're the coach of the Bruins"?
No, there were two people, and they were wearing Bruins hats.
Do you think that's sad when you go out of the country and there are people wearing Bruins hats?
I think it's great. It just speaks volumes about how great the city is and how lucky we are. Whether you're a Celtic, you're a Patriot, you're a Red Sox, obviously, with how long they've been so great in this town. And the Bruins, it's a great, passionate sports town. And I've been in other cities where it's not the same. And it's great to be in a city where we matter, and the pressure that comes with that is also very healthy, in my opinion.
Do you talk to Missoula at all? Like Mayo talks to Missoula, like some of those guys, and you see Belichick with Brad Stevens and stuff. Do you ever talk to those guys?
Yeah, I've talked to Joe a handful of times. I was here at the championship game. After they won, I wanted to see what it looked like, what the city was like, and I was with my 13-year-old son, and we were just blown away. Again, it's why the city's great. And my conversations with Joe have been great. I've talked to Bill in the past. I've not talked with Coach Cora yet, but it's something that I have on my docket.
Did Missoula talk about philosophical things and things of that nature? He sounds like a lot of times like he talks like he just read 5 self-help books and memorized them.
Yeah, I love his calmness. He just seems like he's always at peace.
See, I don't get
look
that
at
read at all.
The word I know, and I do some Celtic games from time to time. The word I think of when I think of Joe is intense more than calm.
Yeah, but there's I agree that he's intense, but there's a confidence in that delivery that he's calm. He's so well prepared, in my opinion, and I think you see that with, his demeanor on the bench. Like, I don't watch him at all 80. Is it 82 or 84 games? 82, yeah. But just my conversations with him, we talked about early on how we both came in and the defensive structure was really good. We were going to add to the offensive structure, and obviously watching them go through what they went through last year after, losing to Miami and how they overcame that and how dominant they were is something that, clearly I'm trying to learn from.
And by the way, you talk about parades. I've been here since 2006. I happen to be on a duck boat in the Bruins parade. But I will, because I'm a big hotshot. But I will tell you, and John, you would agree, the biggest, and there's been a lot of championships since 2006. Biggest parade was the 2011 Bruins parade, by far. It took over the city. It was really magical. All right, let's get to this season. All right, so you've lost to Florida in the last 2 playoffs. They made deals. They traded sometimes scoring for, they got Kachuk in that way, and Kachuk's a playoff guy. Would you agree with that? There
Yes.
are guys that are made for the playoffs. You guys this season made some moves, and in some ways you got bigger. Is that a focus? Because I'm interested in the NHL. Is there a way that works in the regular season that you might be a better regular season team, but if you build your team in a certain way, maybe you're a little bit less in the regular season, but you're built for the playoffs. Is that true?
I think you're bang on with that assessment. And I think you have to have enough skill in the regular season to make the playoffs. And then you got to have enough grit and size or whatever elements of that. Like, Kachuk's not the biggest guy, but his grit, his compete, and how he wills other teammates into the battle, very much like Brad Marchand does for us. Right?
Okay, yeah.
And Brad Marchand's not the biggest person in the world, but he's got the heart of a champion. And I think that if they did an autopsy on him like they did on Secretariat, you're going to find his heart's 3 times bigger than the average human.
But who knows what they were?
I understand.
Who knows what they were pumping into Secretariat though? Those were different times.
Maybe not the best comparison.
All right,
yes.
but you feel this this off season because you guys made big moves. I mean, for a team that's established, you made some big moves. Do you feel that those moves had an eye on the playoffs? That those were made for playoff performance, success in the playoffs?
Yeah, and I think it was also made for us to be able to continue to play the way we want to play in the regular season. When you're bigger like we are this year, there's a way that we feel we can play this year, playing in the offensive zone, wearing teams down over time. That's going to allow us to play like that in the playoffs, and it shouldn't be that big of a hurdle. We're going to go to another level, but the level is going to be the same style of play.
I wanted to ask you more to what Fred was talking about your new additions. First of all, the latest on Elias Lindholm, and second, Zadorov. To me, he seems to be that kind of playoff performer that Fred was talking about. A lot of grit, a lot of physicality, a lot of intimidation. Has he been as advertised since he got here?
Yes, he has. And, I think yesterday was our first day where we cut down to what we think is going to – well, we only have one group left, and you have, well, we hadn't had Coyle practice with Pasternak and Pav. We have the line separated because you're moving your key pieces around because you want everybody to know what it's like in practice like a Bruin. But now we can bring them all together, and you can see Zadorov's level of intensity come up and the difference that he's going to make. But it's not only him. We have Kastelik, and he's been very impressive with how big and hard he is. And then we have other pieces of guys that we're still looking at camp, like Kepke and Tufte. And then Brazo's going to be with us for a full year. We haven't seen Jones yet. Mm-hmm. These guys are all 215 pounds and heavier.
All right, Jim. So Sweeney talked today, and I don't know if you heard any of it. You're probably practicing, so you didn't. Or Neely talked. Neely said, and he was talking about Swayman's contract negotiations. He said, I asked Swayman flat out if he wanted to play here, and he said he did. You agree with that? Have you talked to Swayman at all?
I know Swayman wanted. He wants to be a Bruin.
All right, very good. And then Neely said, I know that I'd have 64 million reasons why I'd be playing right now. Now, I know you're not involved in negotiations, and that's all other people's business, and I'm not putting that on you. How much are you thinking, honestly, like just thinking about it? It's not that it's going to affect you or anything, but how much are you thinking about Swayman's contract as the season is about to start?
I got to be honest. Like, when you're in training camp, it's the most demanding of time it is for a coach because you have so many groups and you have so many bodies and you have bodies moving that and it's a big focus on me for my own mental health is staying in the moment and being present. And with that, I really start to focus on, okay, who's playing well, and the goaltending part of our team. Bob Ascension does such a great job with it. Korpisalo has been unreal, and he's looked like every bit of a number one in 2 games he's played. He's been so calm in nets. He's made some saves that he shouldn't be making that has allowed us in those games to either win or get to overtime. And so I'm really comfortable right now with this is the group I have. Yeah, Jeremy Swayman, does he make the Boston Bruins better? We all know that.
Right.
But right now I can't, my mind can't go there because now I start to think about things I don't control, which is the negotiation process. And that's not healthy for me. It takes away from the group.
You have the ability to be present, which is something I have not reached yet. All right, but Korpisalo, people, national people. What do I know? Like national people were like, blah blah. That why was that he included in the trade? But he played for teams that are just not as good as the Bruins defensively. And you're right, Asenza has worked with goaltenders, and I don't think you've ever had a bad one since Asenza's been here. You've had a top goaltender. I believe Olmark wasn't universally looked at as like a Vezina capable goaltender. How big is Asenza with that, and do you think he can do that with the goalies that you have now?
Yes, I do, because the best predictor of the future is the past. And Bob's past, it doesn't matter. You go through the years. He's been here, I believe, 22 years. It's a phenomenal track record. The goaltending's never been an issue here in Boston, and I think with Korpisalo, he's going to prove that once again.
Jim, one more question, and it's about your contract. I believe you're entering the last year. Have you had discussions with the organization about furthering your stay here?
We have had discussions. They've been very healthy. They've been very positive. And that's all I'm going to comment on that, because I think that should stay internal between the Boston Bruins and especially Don Sweeney and I.
Yeah, because they don't change GMs around here. You'd ever notice that?
Just coaches.
There's like 4 GMs in the last 70 years.
Well, Sinden was here for a long time. That makes a lot.
He didn't spend any money, John. He was not loved. All right. Well, Jim Montgomery, listen, we always appreciate when you sit down with us, which is you don't call in the show enough, which I don't think is asking a lot of you. It's just calling in.
I don't think you guys ask.
Oh, Jim.
You see, now you've opened up the door.
I got a phone right here, baby.
Honest
you
to God.
You put your number in
we'll
there.
Call
We can
once
talk
a
whenever
week,
you want.
Man. Don't tease us.
All right. Well, Jim, listen. Everyone loves Jim Montgomery.
Now you and I are negotiating. I like it.
Oh, you want to get paid? You know what? All right. So listen.
I didn't say that, but now you bring it up.
But all right, this is funny. You'll actually think this is funny. So Claude Julien did pre-game interviews. I think you probably do them too for the radio broadcast, right?
Yep.
And so you get. At least he was getting paid, and he didn't want to get paid money. He wanted to get paid in appliances because he didn't want to pay the taxes on it. So, like, he would be like, I want this refrigerator. And they would have to manage how to get that to him.
Does that sound like
Are
Claude
you
to
as
you?
shrewd as
Well, my
Claude
wife's
Julien?
listening right now. She'd be like, because I've heard about this washer and dryer we have right now.
Yeah. So if you're as shrewd as Claude, you can really avoid taxes. I think the IRS can't go after him now. It's been too long. All right. All right. Jim Montgomery, coach of the Bruins, we always appreciate you. Best of luck this season. It's always great to see you. It's a tradition here for us to be out, and we appreciate it. That's Wallach and I. There's no Hardy.